There's a level of awakening that isn't talked about in books, a stage that's so raw, so isolating, and so real that most people who reach it don't even know how to explain it. And that's because this isn't just a shift in mindset, it's a complete dismantling of your identity. This awakening is only experienced by the rarest, most powerful healers go through. And it's not glamorous, it's not peaceful. It feels like everything you knew stops working until something far greater takes its place. Not everyone reaches this point, not even all awakened souls. This is the truth no one tells you. The most powerful healers go through the most intense, painful, and confusing inner transformations. And the final awakening, it doesn't arrive peacefully. It tears everything open. It silences everything you thought you knew, not to destroy you, but to rebuild you from the inside out. If you've been experiencing strange body symptoms, deep inner silences, or a total loss of desire to help anyone, you might think you're broken. But the reality is, you're activating something that only the rarest souls carry, the final awakening of a true healer. And these are the signs that prove it. And number 6 will actually blow your mind. This might be the most misunderstood symptom of all. One day, you just stop. You stop reaching out to help others. You stop checking in. You stop analyzing every emotion or trauma inside yourself. You don't lose compassion, you just lose the urge. And instead of panic, you feel still, almost blank, as if your system is shutting down all the noise for a reason you can't name. This is where the final awakening begins, not with motivation, but with emptiness. You're not lazy. You're not numb. You've simply reached the edge of your current capacity. For years, maybe your whole life, your nervous system was wired around caring, healing, checking in, giving your energy. And now, the system has flipped. It wants nothing. You find yourself no longer interested in spiritual tools, self-help books, energy work, or emotional processing. And it feels strange, even wrong. But deep down, you know it's not a loss, it's a clearing. Because in this stage, the healer becomes hollowed out, not broken, emptied. So something entirely new can enter, something ancient, something beyond technique. And this void you're sitting in, it's not the end. It's the sacred space right before you finally remember who you were before the healer identity ever existed. At first, it starts as irritation. You feel drained after simple conversations. You pick up tension from people who aren't even aware they're projecting. Then it deepens, and suddenly, it's not just about who you can tolerate. It's about who your body refuses to be around. You find your body tightening, closing off, getting overwhelmed, even with people you once loved. It's not judgment. It's not ego. It's your energy saying, "This is not safe anymore." In the final awakening, your vibrational field becomes non-negotiable. And the moment someone's presence requires you to shrink, mask, or hold their pain for them, your system starts rejecting it on a cellular level. You'll get headaches, digestive issues, random anxiety, even rashes or flare-ups, not because you're sensitive, but because your body is finally enforcing boundaries your spirit always needed. This is why powerful healers in final awakening begin to isolate, not out of fear, but because their system is rewriting the rules of connection. You're no longer here to carry anyone's shadow for them. And your body is the first to know when someone's energy is asking you to do just that. So if being around others feels heavy, confusing, or even unbearable lately, you're not antisocial. You're being rewired. And the solitude, it's not loneliness, it's calibration. You're walking, cooking, scrolling, doing nothing special, and suddenly it hits, a wave of sadness, a strange grief, tears that rise from nowhere, or even a sudden burst of joy, clarity or softness that feels so big, It almost knocks the breath out of you. And when you try to trace it, you can't. It's not connected to a memory. It's not about your past. It just is. This is what happens when your body becomes a vessel for collective release. You're not just clearing your own trauma anymore. You've opened the channel wide enough to feel what others are still burying. This doesn't make you a martyr. This makes you an instrument, one so finely tuned that it can carry what others aren't ready to feel. But here's the difference in this stage. You don't attach to the feeling. You don't try to analyze it. You let it move. Because you're no longer here to name everything. You're here to transmute it. And when this happens, your job is not to figure it out. It's to trust your ability to feel deeply without drowning, to hold pain and let it pass. And the fact that you can do this now, that you can sit in a tidal wave of energy and remain whole, that's proof you've entered the final stage. You used to know what you were doing. You had a system, a flow, a rhythm. Maybe you practiced energy work, or taught others, or held sacred space through words. But now, it's as if nothing works anymore. The techniques feel hollow. The words don't land. The sessions go silent. And instead of panic, you feel surrendered. Like your hands are being guided towards something you haven't learned yet, but already carry. This is where your healing transcends knowledge. In the final awakening, healers stop doing healing and begin embodying it. Your presence becomes the medicine. Your stillness becomes the channel. Your silence becomes louder than any affirmation. This is also why many powerful healers go through a phase of total confusion in their practice. Not because they're lost, but because their method is being rewritten through them. What used to take hours now takes minutes. What required effort now happens through a glance, a breath, a pause. You are no longer the facilitator. You're the frequency itself. And if your healing style is falling apart right now, don't fix it. Let it deconstruct. Let it crumble. Because what's trying to emerge will not fit the container it came to replace. You've rested before. You've had lazy weekends, solo retreats, even burnouts. But this is different. You don't just want a break, you want stillness. You want to unplug from everything, to disappear into quiet, to stop participating in the noise of the world. And not because you're tired, but because your body is demanding it like never before. This kind of stillness isn't sleep. It's not self-care. It's activation. What's happening now is a complete energetic restructuring. Your aura is going through realignment. Your nervous system is recalibrating. And for the most powerful healers, this kind of transition can only happen when the outside world is turned off. You'll notice you avoid even gentle distractions. You might feel repelled by phone notifications, music, or even talking. You feel emotionally flooded by loud energy, overstimulated by small talk, and physically tense in fast-paced environments. And in that stillness, something sacred begins. Your own voice becomes audible again. This level of silence can feel strange at first, because it's not passive. It's deeply intelligent. It's filled with instructions that can only be heard once your old pace dies out. So, if you find yourself needing quiet, alone time, or complete detachment, don't explain it. Don't apologize. This is the space where your true healer self is finally downloading. You don't know how you know, you just do. You sense things before they happen. You feel someone's truth before they speak it. You know who to distance from without needing proof. And the strangest part, you stop questioning it. You just follow it. In this final stage, the healer no longer separates intuition from action. You're not waiting for confirmation. You're not searching for signs. Your body is the sign. This is the transition from guidance to embodiment. You've processed enough, learned enough. Now your system is simply operating from internal authority. You don't need cards, pendulums, or validation. The information comes through your cells, your silence, your immediate emotional response, and you trust it. This is also why others might feel intimidated by you now, because your clarity is undeniable. You no longer ask, why? You move from instinct, and that instinct has nothing to prove. This level of knowing is not learned, it's remembered, and it only emerges after you've been stripped of every voice that told you to doubt yourself. You've spent years asking, learning, trying. Now, you just know. If these signs feel familiar, subscribe now, because your awakening deserves to be understood, not ignored. There's a moment where everything that once fit suddenly doesn't. You look at your social media, your spiritual practice, your routines, your words, and none of them feel like you anymore. Not because they were wrong, but because they were too small. This is the moment where your frequency surpasses your identity. For the final healer, this stage is disorienting. You begin shedding everything you once claimed as your truth. The labels, the methods, even the people you once resonated with. It's not personal, it's energetic. You're expanding, and your outer world can't keep up. You may even feel like you're floating between timelines, not anchored in your past, not fully rooted in the future, but hovering in the unknown. And here's the hardest part. Nothing will make sense right away. You won't have the new path mapped out. You'll just know the old one is over. And that knowing will echo through your posture, your silence, your boundaries. You'll begin moving slower, talking less, watching more, because you're not in reaction anymore, you're in reinvention. And the truth is, your soul is building a new foundation. And that foundation will not be built using your old self as a blueprint. The final and most profound realization is this: you never came here to save the world. You never came here to hold everyone's pain. You never came here to live inside the healer archetype forever. You came here to be whole. And suddenly, you feel it, the quiet craving to just live. To laugh without being spiritual. To eat without overanalyzing your energy. To cry without assigning it to a shadow. To exist without fixing anything. This is the moment you become the most powerful version of yourself. Because for the first time, your power isn't being poured into others. It's being integrated into your humanity. You stop leading people. You start walking with them. You stop speaking from knowledge. You start speaking from experience. You stop offering healing and start embodying wholeness. And the people who find you after this shift, they don't come to be saved. They come to remember who they are, just by being around you. Because you're not the healer anymore. You're the mirror. If you've reached this stage, you've earned something few people ever touch, the right to stop becoming and just be. You no longer chase growth for the sake of healing. You no longer shape-shift to fit the expectations of others. You no longer need your pain to have a spiritual label. You're allowed to be soft, angry, quiet, playful. You're allowed to be all the things your healer self never made room for, because your awakening is no longer about expansion. It's about return, back to breath, back to body, back to you. And if this resonates, if you felt the loss of old tools, the collapse of your healer identity, the sacred silence that no one else seems to understand, then this space is for you.